This video is a demonstration of using ArrayList in Java. We're going to solve this first problem. Write a Java program that prompts the user to enter words or a sentinel value of ZZZ to quit. So we're going to need a while loop there. Store the values in an ArrayList. So that's going to be an ArrayList of string because we're entering words. When the user is finished, display the number of values entered. We'll use the size method to do that and the longest and shortest word entered. So we'll use an enhanced for loop to go through and compare the words to each other to find the longest and the shortest. And we're going to use a long and a short method to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. We'll use JDoodle. Go ahead and get our program set up. I'm just going to paste in the requirements so that we can see that. Delete the boilerplate. Okay, so first thing we're going to need is we're going to need a scanner and we're going to need the array list. So let's go ahead and do the imports. Array list, uppercase A and uppercase L. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and create our scanner. Okay, and let's go ahead and create the array list. We'll call the array list words. So to create an array list, we say this is going to be an array list of string. So we use so this is the data type array list, and then we put the data type, the wrapper class in the angle brackets. And it equals new. That's the data type, the name of the variable is words, and it equals new array list of string. And then because we're calling the constructor, we use the parentheses. Okay, a constructor is just a special type of method that's built into the ArrayList class. Okay, so now the ArrayList is built. We have our scanner. Now we want to do a loop with to ask the user to enter data. I'm just going to do this in the main method because I'm collecting string data, and so if I was collecting integer data or numeric data, I would have to have a try catch block. But there's really no input validation on the string data in this particular case, so I don't need to do that. So I'm going to use a keep going loop. I'm going to create a Boolean variable. Let's go ahead and be explicit about that. I'm going to create a Boolean variable called keep going, and I'm going to set it to true. And then I'm going to do while keep going. Getting my blocks set straight. And so now I'm just going to prompt the user to enter a word. Enter a word for ZZZ to quit. Okay, I'll do a scanner. So I'll say string word equals scanner.nextLine. And then I'm going to test for the sentinel value. So if word is equal, I have to use the dot equals because it's a string, and I'm going to use the ignore case so it doesn't have to match specifically ZZZ. Then if that's true, then we want to stop. So keep going will equal false. Otherwise, if it's true, then we want to say words.add. So now it's in our array list. So let's go ahead and run that just to make sure. We've done a lot of typing there. We want to make sure we haven't made any syntax errors, and we have. Okay, so this says at line 9, package java.util does not exist. I put an extra E in the package here. So at line 9, you need to fix a spelling mistake. Remember, the 3 mistakes you'll make are spelling, semicolons, and brackets, and blocks. So in this case, that was a spelling mistake. I misspelled the word Java. Semicolons, just missing semicolons at the end. Either you don't have one or you have too many. That happens too. And then also the braces. So keeping these braces in line can be challenging as you're learning. So let's go ahead and run that again, see if we solve the errors. Okay, so we see that when I compile that, I got a whole bunch of errors, but because the error was that the ArrayList library was not being imported, all of these other ArrayList references were failing. So I always like to, whenever I fix 1 or 2 errors, I always like to run the compiler again just to make sure that the subsequent errors weren't caused by one that I just fixed. So now we can enter a word, and we should be prompted to do that again. That's 2 words. And then if we enter ZZZ case insensitive, it should quit. Okay, all right, so the program is ended. Okay, so now what we want to do is the challenge says, with the users finished, display the number of values entered and the longest and shortest word entered. So I'm going to come here after the while loop, and I'm going to write some more code. System.out.println. I'm just going to do the number of values first. So we'll do a printf here. We'll do printf on all of these. And we're going to say you entered. And then I'm going to use the size method for the array list so that my replacement value here will be a %d because that's going to be an integer value. You know, that many words, and I'm going to put a new line at the end of that. And then my replacement argument is going to be words.size. Okay. We can run that, make sure it works. Helicopter. Zebra. ZZZ, 2 words. Okay, so that one works. Now let's go ahead and do the longest word. So I'm going to go ahead and do my printout on that, my output on that first. If I can spell it right, print line. We're going to do a printf here, just to be consistent. We're going to do printf, and we're going to say the longest word is, and then we're going to do a replacement value here. It's going to be a string, and then we'll do a new line at the end of that as well. Okay, and then my replacement value will be a method, longest, and we'll send the words ArrayList as a parameter. Okay, so now I've done a print, I've done an output here, and I have called this method called longest. Okay, so now I need to write that method. So when I'm going to put the method, I want it to be inside the class, so in between the braces for my class, but not in between the braces for main. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new line here. Public static, the return value of this is going to be string. So I'm going to return the word that's longest. It's going to be called longest is the name of the method. And it's going to take an array list of string. And we'll just call it words. Okay, so now I have to write logic that will calculate the longest word. So the first thing I need to do is make sure that the array list is not empty. If it's possible that there's no words in the array list, and so then the word will just be empty. So I'm going to test if it's empty first. I'm going to say if words.size equals 0, then I'm going to say return an empty string. Okay, because there's nothing in the array list. So if there is something in the array list, then I need to do an enhanced for loop for string word in words. Now I'll be looking at each word. I need to declare. This is very similar to doing a summation or an aggregation. If I'm summing up an array list or an array, I'm going to create a variable that's going to hold my answer, and then I'm going to go through the loop and test each word for my answer. So I'm going to create a string called long. We'll call it result, and then I'm going to set it to be the first element in the words. Okay, I just do that because you know, the answer is going to be one of the elements in the array list. So rather than setting it to a null value or to an empty string, I'm just going to set it to the first element in the array list, simply because that could be the answer, but it gives me a good place to start. So I'm never setting the result to something that is going to be an invalid result. So now let's go ahead and do the test. So now as we go through the for loop, I just want to test, is the length of the result less than the length of the word? And if it is, then I want to replace result with the word. So I'm going to say if result.length is less than word.length. That's true. Then I want to say result equals word. If it's not true, then I don't want to do anything. And then after the for loop is over, I'm just going to return result. Okay. Let's run that and see if that works. See if I made any syntax errors. Okay, no syntax errors. So let's go ahead and enter some words. Helicopter, that's a pretty long word. We can enter zebra. We can enter, okay. So the answer, the longest word should be helicopter. There are 3 words, longest word should be helicopter. Let's go ahead and quit. Okay, so the longest word is working, okay? So now let's do the shortest word. So for the shortest word, I'm just gonna cut and paste this printf right here because it's gonna be the exact same shortest. I'm just gonna change the name of the method, the shortest, okay? Also, because the shortest and the longest is the same except for my test here. So if I do longest, I'm testing to see if the result, if I'm testing to see if the resulting word that I found is less than the current word. For shortest, I'm just going to test to see if it's greater than. So what I can do is I'm just going to cut and paste this whole method. So it's I just highlight it, press Control C, and paste it in, and then change this to be shortest. And then I simply change if result.length is greater than the word length, then I know that this word is shorter. So I'm going to hold that in the result and run that. Helicopter. Two and zebra. And then we'll end. So now the longest word is helicopter and the shortest word is 2. So we should see that on the result. Okay. All right. So that's it for this example on a quick primer on how to use an array list to store values and then to process it using an enhanced for loop.